Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Growing up and even beyond that, even as an adult, you probably heard this phrase, be careful what you ask for. Be careful what you ask for. I never gave it any thought. It's like a cliche your mom uses, your dad, whatever. It's true. And it just demonstrates one aspect of the power of words, what you say and what becomes. And we're going to dig into that today. She is somebody that can help you out with that, kind of reframe your language and your thoughts. And she is a licensed professional counselor. And she's also somebody that is a practitioner at Transformation Begins Within. Alice Ward is back with us. Alice, welcome. How you doing?
What's up? I feel like we family now. So I'm going to say, what's up, fam?
How you doing? Yeah. Yeah, you know what? It's like, it seems like sometimes when we get together, we're on the same page. We think the same things.
Yes.
And definitely when it comes to the power of words, I realized that in my journey in even the last 2 years, because I would say things, and this is my validation that this stuff is real. I would say things, not the most positive stuff, but just the way I was feeling or the way I was perceiving the situation.
Yes.
And it all came true. And I'm not saying it necessarily was a good thing, but I truly believe that I manifested it by saying it. That's what took place. Now, obviously, you want to do the opposite of that, but it just demonstrates the power of words. And I know you're a big believer in that too, right?
Very, very much so. I think that oftentimes when we think about words, we just say them so casually sometimes that we're not really aware of what we're saying. And the reality is death and life is in the power of our tongue. So we have what we say. If you put out something, if you will, positive, it comes back. If you put out something negative, it comes back. That words have meaning, words have power. And sometimes we don't always think about when we're saying something, what that actually is meaning behind it. Because if you really think about it, it's almost like words push. It's like when you say something, it's like this big push that's behind it. And sometimes you might not even intend it to mean what it means to you, but that other person, when they receive it, it could be like a rushing wind, that they, are feeling. So I really do think that as people being more cognizant of what we're saying, and even more so, not just what we're saying, why are we even saying it? And most of the time, our words are connected to our thoughts. And so therefore, that's how, if you will, that intertwines, like looking at that thought life too, because that's what thoughts are. They're a group of words that come together and then we communicate them or we don't. So yes.
And we do it all the time, don't even realize it. Happened this morning, dropping my daughter, 14, off at school. Started raining a little bit. And she says, look, it's raining, just as I'm going to school, doesn't want to get caught in the rain because she has to walk a little bit. And I said, well, it could be worse. It could be pouring. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Let me change that up. Why did I say that? It could be worse because now you're pushing the negative out there. Make it worse. Your subconscious is hearing, hey, make it worse. Let me make it worse for you, whatever it's going to be. So I stopped myself and I even explained it to her and said, we should be grateful it's just drizzling right now.
Yes.
Not pouring. I'm grateful. And, it may end by the time our car gets up to and you got to wait in line. So it could have been another, 2 minutes. Might ease up by then. So it's all good. It's all good. But the words mean so much. How about some of those words that we shouldn't be using?
Well, some of those words are should, because should is a word that's a thinking trap. And so that's something when you say should, you should be doing this, that means it's no wiggle room, it's no other options, it's no other possibilities. And so oftentimes it's said, that you should be shouldn't over yourself.
I say that all the time. Don't should on yourself. Don't should on yourself. So true.
And sometimes we lock ourselves into that there is no other way out. And should, must, ought, and sometimes depending on the situation, that person didn't have no other option at the time. And so when people say, I should have known better, well, how could you have known better if you weren't taught, if you didn't have the information? And so it doesn't allow us to be gracious and compassionate, to ourselves. I would say should is a big one that often people, use and really don't even, think about it. I would say other words are probably repeating what you just hear other people say, and you don't even know what that means and whatever that may look like. I like it when you were saying about, your daughter and that conversation that happened, because oftentimes we can be so impulsive when we say things that we don't even think about what we just said until you say it. Wait a minute. And unfortunately, you can't take words back. Right. And we know words can hurt, words can uplift, we know words can change situations. And so just by you saying that and reframing that, for your daughter, that I'm grateful, because at the end of the day, we really can't appreciate the sun unless you appreciate the rain. And so sometimes we have to have both. You know what I'm saying? We need both, in our life. And so just saying that you were grateful, even for something that you might not be wanting to happen at this time, that sometimes life has a way of giving us what we need when we need it. So I really do like the fact of, you're saying that, hey, I'm grateful for this. And that's even in situations. Things may not always be going well, but it's about perspective. How do you choose to see it? What are you choosing to say about what's going on? Because you can change the narrative just by what you say. It can shift the whole conversation, within yourself, or even within conversation with other people. So I do think that that's powerful to know you are a shifter. And at any given time, you can shift the conversation, you can shift your environment just by the words that you speak.
Got to catch yourself, like I caught myself. And it wasn't coming from a bad place when I said could be worse.
Yes.
I meant that in a positive way. Be thankful that it's just drizzle and not heavy rain, but it's the words you use. So don't should on yourself. We've established that. And watch your butt. Watch your butt. Butt is not a good word because it negates what came before it, typically. And use the word and instead of but. Think of how that sentence might go. Like, for example, it's raining a little bit, but I hope the sun comes out. So, or the sun is out, but it's supposed to rain later today. Well, now you kind of just threw away the fact that the sun is out with your but. So just change it up and say, the sun is out and I think it's going to rain later. Okay, no problem. The but is a block.
That's good. I like that, Steve. And I would add if, because oftentimes when we say what if, we normally go to the negative side of, well, what if this happens? We don't live life on the positive side, of what if. When we think of if, and even when we're talking to someone, if we're apologizing, oftentimes saying, well, if I hurt you, I've communicated to you that you hurt me. So if you say, if I hurt you, that implies as if you didn't hurt me. And so I think sometimes when we use words, being mindful of it, because if is one of those things too that we don't always really think about, that could be hurtful too to other people, because it's implying that maybe I did, maybe I didn't, and then if from an anxiety standpoint can cause people to ruminate, because you start thinking of all these what ifs that could happen, and none of them may even come true. But I think part of that also allows us, when we travel out of our window of tolerance, it causes us to be impulsive. It causes us to be insensitive. It causes us maybe to say words we wouldn't normally, say at times with people. So that's why it's a great thing to check, yourself, what you're saying, who you're saying it to, even why you're even saying it. And sometimes that's why it's often said, think before you speak, right? We were given one mouth and two ears for a reason, right? We're taught, right? It's important to be swift to hear, right? And slow to speak. So I think if we're swift to hear what's going on, sometimes you may realize you don't even need to say anything at all, because our tongue is like a fire. And once you say it, you can set ablaze a whole lot of stuff that unfortunately the fire department can't even put out, once it's set ablaze. So I think that becomes important. Like, are you using things to consume people, to burn things up? Or are you giving an opportunity to say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to even say nothing about that. That ain't even worth my words. Even in conversations sometimes with people, everything doesn't deserve a response. I think that's also important to know when it comes to words too. Sometimes your words are not necessary in that situation.
With the if, that reminded me, for example, the one you gave. If I hurt you, ... That's like somebody saying, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yes.
It's like, yes. That's an intentional. I just threw that in there, but to me, I'm hearing the same thing. Yeah, there's so many of them. This one I struggle with sometimes. You're going to send an email to somebody. You want to start it on a positive, personal note.
Uh-huh.
I hope you're having a great day.
Mm-hmm.
Hope. I hope. So it's not the worst thing, but it's not really the most positive thing. Hope
Mm-hmm.
is okay.
Yeah.
But to me, it's just it's a placeholder for something else.
Okay.
So
Okay.
what would you write in that way? Because we're so used to saying it, but it's a great day. Hope you're enjoying it. Oh, I did it again. See?
Yes. And I'm guilty, Steve. So I would have to work through that myself, because when I send emails, that's sometimes how I started off, too. I hope this email, finds you, well, in a sense, like you're saying, because, wishing, if you will, is a little different than hope, but just that
Trust.
trust. Yes. That may be a better word, trust, and
It's a
even
little
just,
formal though. That's my only getting around that the trust word. I think it's perfect because I
yeah.
trust that you're well, but it's just one level of formalness where I'd like to take it down a little bit. But
And
I'm gonna
sometimes it's just speaking it. I would just say, you know what, your day is. You know what, if I say, I hope again, that your day is off to an amazing start, or even just saying something, uplifting. I'm thankful for the friendship, but if it's more so from a business, standpoint, maybe just, going into, hello, how are you doing? So maybe like ask a question and then follow up, with it. I think it's really kind of hard to do because we've kind of been trained and conditioned to just say, I hope this email finds you well. Because the reality is sometimes people are not well. And when I'm emailing you, I really do hope when you receive this that you're in a well place. But sometimes that's not always the case. And then the other person on the receiving end may start thinking, well, they want me to be well and I'm not well. So now what do I have to do, with all that? So I can understand, you saying like, I hope. So what could we replace with that is a
mm,
great, question. So maybe just making a statement, of just saying, you know what, it's an amazing day today, and I was about to say, I hope again. See that?
yeah, see, it's right there.
It's
This
just
is
there.
this is my answer. Just email people only on Friday so you can say Happy Friday and then go into it.
Well, see that, or you could do any other day of the week, right? It could be like, Happy Wednesday, or it could just
You
be
know,
it could just be a quote, too, right, right. Good morning, good afternoon. It's more like formal, if you will, too. But I think it depends on who you're emailing, as well, and how you start off. If it's more professional, then, but if it's like friends and things like that, family, you can kind of just jump into what that is that that you're saying. But I do think, from a professional standpoint, and sometimes it could be conversation. Like if I had a conversation with someone I'm following up,
yeah.
I would just say, I enjoy speaking to you today concerning this, this, and this. I'm looking forward to the next conversation, whatever the case may be, too. So sometimes it could be a way of just follow up as
You can
well.
never lose with those two words. Thank you. So find a reason to thank them. Usually there is one. Let's say you had a conversation yesterday. Instead of starting it, well, I hope your day is going great. Thank you for talking yesterday. It was a great conversation. Or thank you for sending your email right away. And it's been proven psychologically when you see the two words thank you, even in the subject area, it changes somebody's frame of mind.
That's great. And I like that, Stephen. Even just thank you for reading this email. You can start out with that and you can go into, or thank you for your time. That's another great one too, because time is really valuable. Thank you for your advice. Thank you for your support. Thank you for whatever. So I really like
Sure.
those two, words, because like you said, they go so far, in so many people's lives. It seems so simple, but yet it has such deep meaning of gratitude and appreciation when people hear it. It just makes them feel good about, themselves too. So I like that idea.
I hope you like it.
I did.
Oh. All right. Some other words, phrases that we should not say. The power of words. Any other ones you can think of?
Not really just like right off, but I would say this too, not having preconceived notions of what you want people to say. Because sometimes that could be just as hurtful, too, like if you're going through things. Also considering who can give you comforting words. Like who are those people in your life? I don't necessarily have any word to think about, but I can say who you surround yourself with is important. And if you surround yourself with people who are constantly speaking negative, well, then guess what's going to happen? That is going to be
Mhm.
your language too. Negativity is a language, unfortunately, that people speak. just like positivity is a language, you know, too. So I think normalizing that and then recognizing how do those negative words affect you? And so not only other people, but then the other part is self-talk. That is also the power of words. So part of that is from that standpoint, you know, what are some words that go there? I'm not good enough. Or you know what, I will never be able to do this. And never is another word, you know, I would say, you know, to, or I'm not important, or you know what, I'm helpless, or it's no hope, I'm hopeless. So I think some of those, that negative talk that you say
Yeah.
to yourself is really also probably the more important than what other people say. Is what do you say to yourself? What do you
Even
say to yourself?
I wish.
Yes,
It's not horrible, but why are you wishing? Make it happen.
yes,
I wish I had that red sports car. And this is, you know, the power of positive affirmations, but
yes.
I'm going to have that sports car. I'm going to do that.
Speaking it. That's speaking it
It's
to
going to be happening.
existence, right? Yes, manifesting, speaking those things that are not, as though
Right.
that you're speaking like you're seeing it before you see it. You know, I'm going to have that house. You know what? I'm going to have that job, and it has a sudden certainty to it. It's not a maybe. It's not a question mark. And then your mind begins to work on that very thing
Yep.
that you said you wanted, or that very life you wanted to have. So our words frame our world literally. And so the people that you see have things is because they believe that they could have it and they went after it. They didn't accept, you know, if you will, no. And sometimes that's something else that can be a word, can be a positive or a negative, depending on, you know, how you're using it. But sometimes not accepting no. Sometimes knowing that, hey, you know what? I'm going to do this. And I'm not going to be denied. I'm not going to let other people discourage me from something that I want to do for myself. But that comes with other people might not see the vision. Other people might not see the dream, right? But what are you telling yourself about it? Because sometimes you have to encourage yourself. You have to look your own self in the mirror. You have to say, hey, girl, you got this. Hey, man, chin up. You know, but hey, it's going to be okay. It's already okay. So that's another way, because words are also encouraging and it can literally boost you, right? We listen to songs. What are songs? It's the words, put the music. And so sometimes the lyrics that you listen to can also bring you up or bring you down, you know, as well. So I would
Oh,
tell
yeah.
people too to encourage yourself, that sometimes don't wait on nobody else to encourage you. You put your own cheerleader outfit on and get your pom-poms out and, you know, rah, 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 you know, for yourself, because you need to
I
be
agree.
your biggest cheerleader, you know, for sure. Because sometimes people, you know, they won't, whether they just have things going on, they don't know what to say, but you know what you need to hear. So telling yourself that, you know what, I am love. I am enough. I am making it. You know what, I will, you know, I will see this thing, you know, happen. I will break generational, you know, curses. You know, I will have, like, so part of it is speaking it and knowing it and then putting action to what you're saying. Because sometimes people use a lot of words, but they don't back it with action. And then your words become meaningless at that point. So you want your words to have power as it associated with action too. And you're just not saying things to say it. And sometimes that's the flip side. We'll tell people we're going to do something and we use those words and we don't have no intention on doing it. So part of that is make your words count. So when you're saying things, make it count, because guess what? You're going to have to give an account of everything you say. And I'm like, whoa, it's a whole lot of idle things I've said. And I'm like, well, you know what? I could have probably did that a little bit better. Matter of fact, I know I could have handled it, you know, better. But as we grow and as we mature and develop, we learn those things and how to do things different. I think that that's a great thing too, just to be mindful of your words and even record yourself. You know, just take a little tape recorder around. You'll probably be surprised at what you say on a daily basis really may shock you, you know, to the point you're like, oh, I know what, I need to work on that. So yeah.
Even just to write it down, write
Ooh,
those positive things down, keeping a journal. Alice, I can't believe you just mentioned lyrics, because I'm a lyrical freak. I
okay.
listen to music. I just it's part of me. It's at the gym yesterday listening to this song. This song, and if it's okay, I'd like to read some of these lyrics because it says it all
Sure.
right here.
Yes.
So this song came out in the early 80s. It was a pop rock song,
Okay.
Scottish group called Big Country.
Okay.
And the name of the song is In a Big Country. It was like a top 5 hit.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
and it even has like Scottish bagpipes. Don't laugh. It's crazy, but it became a huge hit and it kind of rocks out.
Okay.
And I played this section over and over again on repeat when I was at the gym.
Okay.
And here's the lyrics. So take that look out of here. It doesn't fit you. Because it's happened doesn't mean you've been discarded. Pull up your head off the floor, come up screaming, cry out for everything you ever might have wanted. Again, this is a rock song, and this is not like a deep motivate. It's rocking.
Okay.
I thought that pain and truth were things that really mattered, but you can't stay here with every single hope you had shattered.
Wow.
So basically, it's saying like things aren't the way you thought they were going to be. Pick your head up, start screaming, and move it forward. And this is the chorus that repeats about 3 times, just a few words here. It says, I'm not expecting to grow flowers in a desert, but I can live and breathe and see the sun in the wintertime.
Wow.
And that was a pop song.
Wow. and that perception, of it all, and just being able to understand that I can start again. That
Yes.
I can begin again and again and again. It's not final. The only thing that's final is when you die. As long as you're still living, it is still opportunity to do it again. And listening to you, I'm gonna have to listen to that song when we end the podcast today. But it made me think about asking, what are you wearing? What words are you wearing? Because just like clothes, you can take them off and you can change it. You don't have to keep wearing those same words over and over again. You don't have to stay in the desert. If you want to be an oasis, guess what? You can go there. Or visualization is so important. I can be in a desert, but in my mind, I can just see, just wells just springing up. And that song, just reminded me, of what are you saying to yourself? And you can find beauty and encouragement in a lot of different things. Even working out in a pop song, you can find something that's uplifting. You can find something that will shift your whole mood, because words also, right, connect to our mood as well. So words connect to really everything in life. Words frame the world, right? Let there be when God made the world. And guess what? He spoke it into existence. So we have the power to speak those things into existence that we want. So I want to encourage people, start speaking what you want in your life. It may look impossible, but there is nothing impossible to those who believe. So speaking, and you will be amazed at what starts happening. And then your words will start changing in the people around you. That energy, that magnet, that pull, people will start talking different too. You're like, oh, you know what? Your language is changing. That looks good on you. The way you're handling those situations, that looks good on you, but that's also growth. That's how people can measure growth. Like, how do I know if I'm growing? What words were you saying last year? And you using those same words? Because we know words can be trendy, as well. People use trendy words and then it's not even trending, anymore. But what words do you speak over your life? And then you can reject what people say too. I don't have to let your words plant seed in my life either. And that's another part. Sometimes we let people's words take root in our life, and then they grow up into this negative tree, or this tree that's not producing, and it produces only negativity. So sometimes it's important not to let people's words be planted in your life, because where they are. And some people are maybe not where they want to be, or they want to be where you are, right? But then the other thing too is uprooting some of that negativity, some of the, and it may not be, like you were saying, it might not be bad, but you know what? It's not getting me to where I want to be either. So I need to change that. And I'm going to change that. Matter of fact, I am changing that. And so some of that is progression. I am, like you were saying, the power of I am. It is power in I am. I'm enough. But I'm bold, I'm strong, I'm courageous, I'm fearless, I rock, whatever that is. And it just sounds like, woo, like I can't be defeated. Like I can conquer the world when you use I am. So I would encourage our listeners to start speaking I ams every morning when you get up, and not just speaking it, believing it. Because it's just not speaking, you have to connect your belief to it as well. So I would encourage, speak it, believe it, and watch it happen.
What do you have to lose? And it's so funny. It reminds me of back in the day, the group, the Black Eyed Peas, and
Yes.
Will I Am is one of the guys in the group. And like, what the heck?
Yep.
What is it? What kind of name is that? Now I get it. now I get it. But for all those that think, this is woo-woo, foo-foo kind of stuff, we challenge you. Like, just what do you have to lose about being positive and reframing the way you look at things. Sometimes those around you can influence the way you speak. You may be in a relationship feeling negative energy from somebody, and you're not really sure what it is. And then you start speaking a certain way, but don't let the others influence you. Don't, because you're almost subconsciously allowing them to control your thoughts and your words because of your situation. Let's say you're in a bad relationship. Bad relationship, you got your vibe is like, this person is not the best for me, but and then you walk around and say, I just feel like a paycheck around here. I feel like a paycheck. Eventually you're going to be a paycheck. That's what it's going to turn out to be. And unfortunately, maybe it came from the other person. You take some blame as well, but it was their energy that you should have just shifted away from. But it's just so easy to reframe your words. It's just
you're responsible. You're responsible for what you say.
Yeah.
You say, you made me say that. No, I did not open up your mouth and let those words come out. You are responsible. That's something that we can control. We try to control so many things in life that are uncontrollable, but our words is something that we can always control. You get to control your words no matter what situation you're in. So that's something to know. You have the power to control it. You have the power to have the life that you want, and you have the power to go out and get it. It's already in you. Make it happen.
Just do it. You have everything you do. Everything is a choice. I don't care what the thing you do in the next 5 seconds. It's a choice. You made a choice. Be careful about the choices that you make in that regard, but you have it. You have the power to choose either way. I love your energy. I always tell you that, but it is just, it's infectious. It's so good. What's your website, by the way, Alice?
My website is transformingmindsets.com. So you can look it up, get all my information, and feel free to reach out to me.
Yeah, you're there to help. And at the very least, maybe reframe somebody's thinking into a positive mindset. And yeah, you need to transform the way you think if you want a positive outcome. Who wouldn't? Again, trust me, I lived the other side of it. And I wish I saw all of this in terms of the words that I used, took me down that path. Not a bad path, but the things I said, they all came true.
Yes.
They all came true. And you can't take your words back. That's the other thing.
Once you speak them, they're out there.
They're out there.
Yes. And so knowing that, too. And so you can change your life. You can change your life by changing your words. So change your words, change your life.
It's like social media. You press send. It's out there.
Yes.
You're not getting it back. So be careful before you fire that shot. Alice, always great talking with you. I'm grateful for you. I appreciate you.
Likewise, Steve. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.